Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at chapter 2 from the Road to Latin textbook and go over the grammar exercises just so you have an explanation or an answer key if you're working on this to make sure that you're on the right track. So if you're using the textbook on its own, feel free to use this video to help. If you're using my website, Nova Latin, you can find all the grammar exercises with grammar notes, different explanations, things like that to just kind of help you through. So if you haven't done that yet, I'd encourage you to take a look at it. And that way you can kind of see the chapter in a slightly different way and get a bunch of help for it. There's also different practice problems like Megastrula that'll help you out. So just a lot of ways you can practice the grammar for this chapter. So before we go forward, if you haven't tried this exercise on your own, right, you don't want this video to be the first time you're seeing it. You want to practice it, go over the notes for what you did for this chapter. And remember in chapter 2, the grammar notes, we're talking about the ending AS, right? So what's the difference between AE, AM, AS, right, as we work through what direct objects are. So that should be something you're working on. And then use this video just as a double check to make sure that you're on the right track. Okay, so that's what we'll do right now. So in grammar exercise 1, we're trying to supply the correct case ending and then translate. So when you have the answers here in red, these are in blanks in the actual textbook. But you have in number 1, puel blank, American blank, scolam roman blank, amant. Okay. Now the trick to this is looking at the verb. So your verb is amant. It ends in an nt. So it's saying they like or they love. So your subject needs to be plural. So when you look at this sentence, we have scolam, which is school, and it's got an am ending, meaning it's the direct object. So, in other words, the school is not liking anything. Someone, or in this case, multiple people, are liking the school. So, we need to find a word that works as the subject. The only other noun we have here, right? We have two adjectives, American and Roman. Leave those to the side because we're looking for a noun. The only other noun is the word puel, right? Which is either puella, girl, or puelli, girls. Now, we know it's going to be girls because my verb is plural. So if I have a plural verb, I need a plural subject. That's why I put puelli here. All right, so I'm saying the girls like the school. Now we have adjectives here too. American is right next to girl, right, or in this case, girls. It's going to be describing it, right? And if you read the chapter, the story is about American girls liking the Roman school, the whole thing. So since American is describing girls, it's going to also have that AE ending. Remember, they match in case and number. So in other words, since puelli has an AE, Americani also has an AE. So I'm saying the American girls like the school, right? The last word I have here is another adjective, Roman. Now, Roman is right next to school. That's what it's describing. Now, since school is the singular direct object, it's accusative singular, Roman is also going to be accusative singular. That's why it's Romana. Okay, so you put it together and you're saying puellae Americanae, scolam Romanam amant, which means the American girls like the Roman school. Okay, so you're just trying to do a little bit of thinking and using some logic to figure out where's my subject, is it singular or plural, where's my direct object, and you piece it all together. Okay? And number 2, you have skol blank aperta magist blank delectat. So again, we have a couple of nouns here. We have teacher and school. Now, the word delectat, the verb, is singular. So my subject is singular. I'm either saying the teacher delights or the school delights. Okay. Now, the key word here is aperta, which means open. It's describing the school. Since aperta has an A ending, it's nominative singular. That means scola is going to be nominative singular, and it all flows together. Scola aperta, right? The open school delights someone. The only other noun we have is the teacher. Now, since teacher here is the direct object, right? It's not going to have an A ending. It's going to have an AM ending. It's the direct object. It's accusative singular. I'm saying the open school delights the teacher. That's the only way this makes sense. You're not having the open teacher delights the school. That just doesn't make any sense. So just follow sort of the flow of the sentence and figure out where's my subject, where's my direct object, and are they singular or plural? And you'll end up with the right answer. In number 3, we have skol blank celas parv blank, rather, habent. Okay, so we have something about a school, something about chairs, and something about someone having them, right? Habent. So my verb, habent, is plural. You can tell by the NT. So my subject needs to be plural. Well, the only word I have here that's a noun that doesn't already have an ending, right? So let me backtrack. The two nouns are scola and cella, right? In this case, celas. Celas already has an ending. The AS is a plural direct object, meaning it's not the subject of my sentence. I'm not touching celas because it already has an ending. Skol is the noun that doesn't have an ending. I need a subject. I need it to be plural. It's going to be scolai, right, with the AE. I'm saying the schools have chairs, right? Sellas. Now we have the adjective parv here, and I've been saying that normally in Latin you want to put the adjective with the noun it's going with. That's what they're doing in all these exercises. So it's not small schools, it's small chairs, because parvas is coming right after sellas. Now, because sellas is direct object, it's accusative plural. Parwa, in this case parwas, is also going to be accusative plural. That's why it has the as ending, right? If I put parwam here, it wouldn't make sense. I'd have a singular adjective describing a plural noun, which just doesn't work. Remember, for our adjectives, they always have the same case, number, and something called gender that we'll get to later on. So it's selas parwas. And again, you're saying the schools have small chairs. Now, number 4, we're back to playing around with adjectives. So in other words, I already have magistra, my noun, and puellae, my noun. They already have endings. So you have magistra est bon something, puellae sunt bon something, okay? Now this is hitting on the idea that we've been saying. Adjectives match nouns in case and number. So in other words, since magistra is singular and it's the subject, right? Bona is going to use that singular subject, what we call the nominative singular ending. So magistra est bona. And you could hear it. If I made it boni or bonam, it wouldn't sound right, saying magistra est bonam, right? The words have different endings. You can catch that if you read these aloud and kind of listen to the endings, okay? So it's magistra est bona, the teacher is good. Puellae sunt boni. Now, boni has an AE because it's describing puellae, which is plural, okay? So bona and boni are the exact same word, same adjective. It's just one is singular and one is plural. That's the only difference, okay? So you put it together and you're saying the teacher is good, the girls are good. Now we get to the last one. There's only 5 in this chapter. You have antiqua scola et magist something, et disciple something, delecta. So when we look at this kind of in one piece, the words we're looking at are really teacher and students, okay? Now, our verb is delectat, which is singular, and I already have a subject, antiqua scola, the ancient school delights. So I already have a subject, it's singular, my verb is singular, that's fine. I don't need any more subjects, right? If I made magistra, the word for teacher, magistra, and discipola, I'd be saying the ancient school and the teacher and the students delight. 1, it doesn't really make sense in English, but 2, I have a plural subject and only a singular verb. It can't add up. The only thing that can be my subject is antiqua scola because it's singular. So that means the rest of them have to be direct objects. I'm saying the school delights the teacher and the students. Now, you could have said teachers, and you'd be correct if you put an AS there, right? Because it's the direct object. The reason I made it singular is because in the story for chapter 2, there's only one teacher, right? So I made it magistra. But technically, if you're just looking at the sentence and not thinking about where it came from, right, in the chapter story, you could put an AS there. It would still work because it would be a direct object. Same thing with students. I made it discipulas because there's more than one student. If you had written discipulam, it would be totally fine in Latin. It wouldn't quite work with the story we read, but grammatically it would be correct, okay? But the key here, again, in number 5 is understanding you already have a singular subject. I have a singular verb, so I can't have a plural subject. That wouldn't make sense. I need direct objects, and then you play around with whether or not you want 1 teacher or 2, or 1 student or 2. It's either AM or AS, and it's fine, okay? So hopefully that made some sense. Good little double check, and you were able to get, pretty close to the same thing here, or exactly the same, right? In terms of translation endings. If you got stuck, if you didn't get these right, go back, look at the chapter, look at the grammar explanation, the notes, all these things. Again, you can check out my website. It has it all there. Take a look and read through and try it again and try to figure out where you're going wrong. Good luck.